Good morning, Facebook family and friends. I want to read a very familiar passage of scripture this morning for our devotion. Jeremiah chapter 29. I want to read verses 10 and 11, where the scripture says, "For thus saith the Lord, that after 70 years be accomplished at Babylon, I will visit you and perform my good word toward you in causing you to return to this place. For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end." I want to use for a title today, God is thinking towards you. In history and throughout the years, Jeremiah is known as the weeping prophet because he cried a lot. He cried a lot because of the wickedness and the disobedience of God's people. And what we are seeing here now is that God had told them because of their disobedience, he was going to punish them. He was going to allow another nation to come in and take them captive, and that they were going to be there for 70 years. And so a lot of people say that this is a bad time in the history of God's people. This is a bad book, a bad chapter surrounded by bad things. But I'm so glad to talk to you this morning that even in the midst of bad things, that there is a good God that has a good word for his people. And so when you look at verse 11, it says, "For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end." Now, it's a difference between somebody thinking about you and somebody thinking towards you. God does not fantasize about us. A lot of times people say, "I was thinking about you," but they didn't try to do anything to better your situation, to help you, to encourage you. In other words, you were just some thoughts on their mind. Well, when the scripture says that God is thinking towards you, it says it, and it means that God is thinking towards you with the intent and the power that he's able to accomplish what he's thinking about towards you. And so God doesn't just fantasize. We're not just on his mind. We're on his mind according to this verse because he has a hope and he has a future and an expected end laid out for us. So I want to encourage you this morning to just realize that God is thinking towards you. He's thinking about you. What is he thinking? He's thinking about peace. Because some of you are in some bad situations. You have some bad things going on in our lives. But it is so good to know that God is thinking towards me this morning, not just fantasizing about me, but he's thinking with the power and the will and the determination to accomplish the good things that he has planned for you and I. How do I know that he hasn't planned? Because the scripture says to give you an expected end. That means that God has something in mind for me. He has something in mind for you today. Let's get in on God's plan for our life. He's thinking towards you this morning. Have a great day, Facebook family and friends.